Lovely people of YouTube, welcome back to the channel and welcome to 34 show day and show weekend tips to make sure that you land your best look on stage and don't have any little mistakes messing you up. For anyone that doesn't know me, the credentials are showing. This big ass sword, a black medal, which was first place. I don't know why it wasn't gold, but the medal and lots of trophies here. I have competed 7 times in natural bodybuilding in my career, and I've also coached multiple clients, more than double-digit clients. I've got double-digit class wins, so first places, multiple overall wins and pro card wins as well. So a good amount of experience from my end, and I'm going to give you all the little tips and tricks that I have picked up upon my years of coaching natural bodybuilding. Right, we're going to have 10 different sections here to split this up and make it a little bit more digestible. First section is packing and setup. Second section is foods and digestion. Third section is accommodation. Fourth, tan, glaze and presentation. Fifth, mindset and focus. 6, backstage energy management. 7, your pump up strategy. 8, what to do right before going on stage. 9, on stage, posing, tips and tricks here. And then 10, some extra random but pretty crucial details. So let's go into section number 1. Now, I sadly don't have the brain power and the IQ to remember 34 things off by heart, so I've got all the list here, 34 of them on my laptop, so if I'm looking off to the sides, that's what it is. So the first section, packing and setup, where things usually go tits up because you end up forgetting something that's really important for you. Biggest thing to stop that is have a list that you have for what you need to pack. So for myself, again, I competed 7 times in 2023. By the second show, I had the exact list that I needed to have. You know, the first show I had my big packing list. There was a few things that I'd forgot, a few things that I needed, so I added them at the time, and it meant for when I was going forwards, all I had to do was put something in my bag, tick, put something in the bag, tick. Tick it off only once it is there. There's so many times I'm like, oh yeah, I've got that, I'll go get it, I'll go put it in, I'll go get something else, and I tick it off and I forget, I'm like, oh fuck. So a packing list that you tick off as soon as it's actually in the bag. Bring your body weight scales, your food scales, and your salt scales. So this is the one singular point, but just trying to remember all of your scales. You need all of them. You know, to be able to check in with your coach and give him your body weight, your food scales to obviously weigh out your food once you get there, once you get to your Airbnb, and your salt scales to do the same thing as well, to be able to measure your potassium, your sodium through your pink Himalayan salt and your low salt, or your salt. Pink Himalayan doesn't need to be, but yeah, bring all your scales. Bring your headphones so that you can chill out a little bit more. There's nothing worse backstage, people just tune your ear off. Put some headphones on, relax, get into your own little place. Perfect. Alongside that, have a playlist for chilling out. You're just kind of relaxing, not backstage, but just chilling around the venue. And then your let's fucking go playlist when you're pumping up backstage. And it's personal preference, whether you want to wear headphones or not. But, you know, having a good playlist, or if it's just very, very motivating, gets you up for it, gets you ready to go. I personally really like to have that. Now, other stuff to bring for yourself, sliders, a beaten up shit pair of sliders that you don't care about because they're going to get tan all over them and they're not going to stay perfect. Black bed sheets if you have a hotel or a Airbnb. So if you're traveling for the show and you're not staying in your house and then driving to the show, if it's not a local one, bring black bed sheets. Funnily enough, when you're covered in tan, when you wake up, the bed is also going to be covered in tan. Now, not all of it will come off, but there will be some coming off, you know, warmer in the evening. As you're sleeping and sweating a little bit through there will be brown shit all over the beds. And Airbnb hosts, from personal experience, very much do not like that. I've had a few run-ins and a few bad experiences with people when I forgot them, so make sure that you bring your black bed sheets. Bring an extra sock. People might be thinking, why would you need to bring an extra sock? I mean, this is for guys, realistically, not for girls, but you need a cock sock. So when you go to get tanned, sometimes they do give you one, sometimes they don't, so make sure you've always got your own, but you need to put a sock over your willy. So yeah, bring an extra sock. I had Tony the Tiger. I don't think I'll be able to put that on YouTube. Fuck, it will get not demonetized, not as if I make much money off of it anyway, or any money. But I don't think I don't know what you would call it, the governing body with YouTube would like seeing me pretty much fully naked with a little Tony the Tiger sock on. Shout out to A1. Nicola from A1, she had little daft socks. There was a crocodile one, there was a tiger one, there was a Spider-Man one, whatever it may be. I got the tiger one and named him Tony the Tiger. He stayed with me throughout the whole prep. But bring an extra sock for your cock sock. Bring pump-up bands. Some federations, some competitions will have some dumbbells and bands backstage, but it's never guaranteed, so make sure you bring your own. Bring extra food, more than you think you need. So making sure that you bring more, you won't need more than a full tub of salt or a full kind of shaker of salt. But bring extra rice cakes, bring extra honey, bring extra jam, whatever it may be, whatever you think you're going to be having, what your coach has outlined for you, bring more of that in case you need to run extra foods. There's no harm in bringing extra just in case you need to have that. Bring an extra scoop of pump pre-workout in case you make it to the overall. It depends obviously the class that you're going into. It depends whether you believe that you're at the standard or your coach believes that you're standard to possibly win that. But if there's any chance at all, make sure that you prepare in advance for that overall. So making sure you've got enough resources to actually have that. And as I say there as well, bring an extra meal to tanning. Tanning takes so long. Most of the time it runs way over what they want it to. They say, oh yeah, it'll be an hour, get to tanning at 5, leave at 6. You're still there at 7:30 p.m. Make sure that you bring your next meal, not an extra meal, your next meal to tanning, so that you don't end up having to stay there for much longer. Then you need to eat that meal much later, then you're going to bed and it's not digesting and all that shit. So literally like 75% of the time, tanning's going to run on way longer than it should. So make sure you bring an extra meal for that. But that wraps us up for section 1, packing and setup. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 points already. Brilliant. Section numero dos. This is food and digestion. So this is where a lot of people go wrong as well, because they just start throwing in random fucking foods that they've not had in 6 months. What is the rationale behind that? You know, people are firing down sweets and muffins and cookies and shit backstage. It's not going to work. You're going to fuck up your digestion, and it's extremely unpredictable is the words that I'm looking for. So making sure you stick to similar foods. As I say there, point number 1, know the foods that digest well. Don't start eating random shit. Make sure you take your time. You are going to be hungry at that point in prep. Of course you are. You're going to want to just fire your meals down you. Take your time, chew slowly, and make sure that your meals digest well. There's nothing worse than trying to go on stage or pumping up backstage, being bloated, feeling like shit because you've been munching your meals way too quickly, or, you know, eating random foods. Don't overly restrict your water as well. So this is a massive part of the peaking protocol, and it's such a outdated mindset that, all right, we're going to massively decrease water, we're going to cut water in the day or bring it down loads. You'll just be flat. You won't feel good. You won't be able to get a pump, and you look like shit on stage. When you're flat, you also look softer. The muscle isn't pressing up against the skin as much. So make sure that you're not overly restricting your water. Again, you should have a coach that should be able to tell you this. If they are telling you to massively restrict your water and pretty much drink nothing on show day, sack them off. They don't know what they're talking about. Now, that's not me saying that you shouldn't be bringing it down slightly. I do think you should do so. You know, it depends when you're on stage. You don't want to be having 7 litres of water down you, depending on what you'd usually drink. But take Lewis as an example. My client Lewis, who literally just won his overall. I just posted a YouTube video about that there. I believe Lewis was a good 2.5 litres of water in, and he was on at 11 a.m. So making sure that you're not overly restricting your water. I myself set out, right, I'd like you to have 300 mils of water per hour, 350 mils of water per hour. That usually works well anywhere in the realms of 200 to 400 mils of water per hour, depending on the person and depending on how much water they drink. So making sure that you're not fucking up your look, your ability to actually uptake the food and put it to use by not having any water along with it. Keep your pre-stage meal a little bit lower in volume. So you would usually, let's say your pre-workout meal has a good amount of veg in it, you've got peppers, broccoli, whatever it may be. If you're having something like chicken and rice, take the veg out, lower the volume of the rice, and maybe add in some honey. Again, make sure that does digest well with you beforehand, trial that out beforehand, but look to bring that volume down a little bit. You do not need to be having your full volume on show day. You do want to keep that a little bit lower. But as I say, don't just be firing loads of sweets, loads of squares, bars, whatever it may be. Try and keep it with very clean sources. If you're adding more carbohydrates, make that rice cakes and honey. You know, it's as simple as that. Jam if you really enjoy jam and if you know it sits well. So making sure that you keep your food sources very, very simple, and don't try firing random shit at the last minute and fuck up all your hard work. Section 3, your accommodation. I've literally got 1 point for this, but I am going to elaborate on it a little bit more, and that's get an Airbnb instead of getting a hotel room. I remember when I done the Romanian show, the IMB Universe, and then the Natural Olympia out in Vegas, they set us up in a hotel for the Romania show, but then I ended up getting an Airbnb myself for Vegas. Having only a hotel massively restricts you in the foods that you can have. It kind of makes sense to talk about this just coming off the back of food and digestion and all that shit. I'm going to put a guess out there that the meals that you would usually have in your usual routine aren't meals that you could just make up without any cooking facilities. You're going to be having, again, say chicken and rice, potatoes and mince, sourdough, bacon medallions, eggs, whatever it may be, steak, I don't know. You need cooking facilities and you need a kitchen to cook that. You don't want to just be going to complete different meals because all you've got is a fucking mini fridge. You know, in hotels, you're realistically 99% of the time not going to be getting a kitchen unless it's, sorry, some crazy fucking hotel. And again, even sometimes you won't get a mini fridge. It's just a bed and that's it. Don't increase your stress. Don't massively change your food options just because you're limited to what a hotel is able to give you. So an Airbnb, ideally, if you can, go with people that you trust, that you know are not going to be keeping you up and stressing you out, so that you can split it across there, trying to make the financial side of things a little bit better. But make sure you get an Airbnb that's got good reviews as well. There's been a few times that I've booked an Airbnb and holy shit, like it looks lovely on the listing and it's just an absolute dive when you get there. The last thing that you need, being a day out, 2 days out, is having to go and find another Airbnb, switching about, the stress of that. Make sure that you know where the Airbnb is, you know that there's parking there, you know the situation to actually get into it, you know where the lockbox is. Again, all this stuff is just not stress that you need on a show weekend, but definitely an Airbnb over a hotel. Right, another big one. Tanning and glaze. So a lot of people go wrong here in the sense that they don't look after their tan, they don't prepare well enough for their tan, they don't get enough glaze on, and therefore they look pretty shit on stage. You know, like if you don't have enough glaze on, you look very dry, not in a good way, not like, oh, he's super dry and he looks fucking peeled. Like there's just no pop. You know, you look flat, it doesn't look very nice in general. So making sure that you get enough glaze on, and that means you either do it yourself or you ask the people for a little bit more glaze. Lewis is an example. His glaze stood out a little bit more than most people on the PCA stage there. Brandon messaged me saying so, and it's because I messaged Lewis beforehand and I was like, make sure that you ask to put a little bit more on. And it was good because he actually went and got his glaze, and then after 5-10 minutes and we're pumping up, he just went to the other woman and he said, oh, can I get my glaze done, please? And she had no clue, and she just done another layer, and it looked perfect. So they usually underglaze you. Be careful to not go crazy with it. And this is the next point. Bring a little roller or something to be able to adjust your tan and adjust your glaze. If you get extra glaze put on, you think, fuck, that's too much. All you need to do, take the little roller and roll it slightly off. Easy as that. So you can get little tan packs. I don't know if A1 still does them. Nicola from A1, she used to have a wee tan pack, so it would have a bit of her tan, like a small bottle, it would have a roller, and it would have some gloves, and it meant if anything went wrong, if you pissed on your leg and tan was running down it, you just literally touch it up with a little glaze there. So with a little glaze, with a little roller is what you're looking to do. Also in preparation for getting your tan, do not put on any deodorant beforehand. You can put deodorant on that day if you'd like to, but make sure that you shower that off and don't reapply any. Don't put any deodorant or any aftershave on once your tan is on as well. Do nothing. Don't shower, don't do anything. Let that tan sit there and try and make it as uninterrupted and as nice and smooth as possible. Another bonus point as well for the guys, as soon as you piss, put that sock back on instantly. If you don't, or at least your trunks, get it back over. Because if you dribble the slightest bit and it hits your leg, they're just one big giant streak down your leg. You can see it straight away. So yeah, and it's quite hard to fix as well because your pee just runs straight through the tan. So I have done it multiple times. Brandon's done it. I see it happen all the time. You see a guy with a wee dribble down his leg. Make sure that you don't dribble down your leg. Brilliant. Now, a lot of people psych themselves out. This is section number 5. I've done it myself. I've seen clients do it myself, and I see pretty much everyone do it. Looking at others backstage and looking at others at tanning. At the WNBF show that I done July 2023, my very first show, I was looking at people thinking, holy fucking shit, they're going to absolutely demolish me. They're way bigger than me, or they maybe look way leaner than me. But you may just be looking at their best body part, you know, looks fucking peeled. They've just contracted and you've seen the chest striations, oh my god, crazy. Or you might see this guy with fucking giant arms, but he's soft as shit. You can't tell until you're on stage. You know, in that teens class, I don't think there was anyone really close to me. And that's not me trying to be horrible, that's not me trying to show off or anything like that. But I ended up winning the overall that show. I took out all the other classes as well. But I thought there was so many people in that teens class that would beat me. You know, and I seen so many other people backstage when I was pumping up for the overall. I actually remember saying to the boy next to me, Ben, who won the juniors class, I was like, mate, this is just a DLC. Like, I'm not going to win this. Of course I'm not. But I'm just here for the good vibes. I'm going to do it. Because I've seen some of the guys pumping up. There's like 90 kg plus fellas in stage condition. I'm like, yeah, they're fucking crazy. but their shape wasn't great, their posing wasn't great, they had big weak points, they might have been massive, they might have been pretty lean, but their shapes didn't, or their physique didn't flow very well. You never know until you're up there, until you're posing. They could be sweating their tits off, the presentation could be shit. It's impossible to say, so do not rule yourself out and don't allow yourself to get in your own head backstage. Also, make sure that you've got someone there to keep show timings sorted, like whether you're behind or whether you're ahead, or the show's behind their heads, because if you don't, then you're going to lose your focus. You're always stressing out about, oh, when am I on, when am I not on, because shows always run off time. They're either way behind or they're a little bit early. It's never usually really early, unless you're Lewis Agnew doing PCA first timers, or PCA Naturals 1, sorry. But they're usually way later than they would be, but sometimes they're on time, sometimes they're a little bit early. It's very, very hard to say until that time. So make sure that you get someone else there. So for us, for natural physique coaching, myself, Finn, Noah, and Matt are usually at most shows. So it means that we can all be kind of keeping track of where the show's at. Someone can be helping them pump up. Someone can be looking after the other clients. Someone can be helping posing. Like there's loads of different roles within that, but it allows our clients to actually know when the show's going on and where we're at so that they can be on time. Next up is energy management and staying off your feet. So you ideally want to stay off your feet as much as you can. Realistically, for show weekends, a little bit of small walks after meals just to make sure your digestion's all good. But on show day, staying off your feet as much as possible. Also, elevating your feet. So you want to get a nice little comfy, chilled out, relaxed setup. So for myself, I would literally bring a blanket, I bring a pillow, I bring my eye mask, and then I put my legs up on top of my bag. I don't really need like a wee pedestal or anything for that. But it meant that I could just lie down, relax. Sometimes the floors are a little bit fuzzy and like a weird material. And then when you're lying down, you end up messing up your tan. So you ideally want to get like a wee perfect setup and elevate your feet. Stops your legs from being as fatigued, drops off inflammation through them, makes them look fresher. And again, energy management and kind of not overdoing yourself on a day is really big. For myself, again, in the BNBF Northern show, there was a early show and then an evening show. They had it split up, and then the overalls later on. I won a teens class. I'd been on stage twice already, but then between the classes, I was up and about, speaking to people, chatting, because it was my second show. And after the first show, I'd won the overall. A lot of people were speaking to me, people that I had not met before. We were chatting for a while. I was on my feet. My legs were absolutely minced by the end of the day. So making sure that you stay off your feet and that you elevate your feet as much as possible. Next up, section 7, pumping up. A lot of people have issues with this because they've not practiced what they're going to do. A lot of people have issues with it because they've not drank enough water, they don't have enough sodium or enough food because they fucked themselves up. That's a completely different story. But a lot of people, even if they're in a great position, they give themselves 5-10 minutes to pump up and they think they'll be all good. No, think about your sessions. Your sessions are usually like an hour, probably to 2 hours long, and you still have a really good pump by the end of that. If you pump up for 20 to 30 minutes, it's not going to feel like too much, and you're only having to get a pump through your upper body. So take it light, give yourself time, and don't fuck yourself up too much. If you're trying to blast it all within the space of 5 to 10 minutes, you're going to get super out of breath and you're going to go on stage already puffing out your arse. It's not a place you want to be. So I recommend 20 to 30 minutes of pumping up before you go on. With that, having like a routine, so one that you've kind of practiced already. I like to do that 2 days before the show. So let's say the show's on the Sunday. Maybe my client, so let's imagine they run legs, push, pull, rest, lower, upper, rest. So that's Monday through to Sunday. They do legs, push and pull, rest on the Thursday. They have a mock pump up session on the Friday, they rest on the Saturday, and they go in on the Sunday. Ideally, you want to rest the day before the show just to make sure that your body's as chilled out and as relaxed as possible. But with that Friday session, I'm like, I don't want you to be doing it on cables. I want you to be doing it with dumbbells. I mean, dumbbells if you're bringing them with you, but replicate as much of a backstage pump up as you can and assess and see what you need more through. A lot of people forget to think about, right, where actually is pumped up. If you do a circuit of everything evenly, biceps, triceps, delts, lats, upper back, a little bit of abs possibly, you're obviously going to get a good amount of blood everywhere, but it depends on your weak points, where do you connect with best as well. You might be able to get a bicep pump like that, but in your triceps, it could fuck all through them. And making sure that you actually think, right, we're just pumped up right now. Contract everything after each little kind of round that you do. For myself, again, I just do like 10 to 15 reps of a bicep curl, 10 to 15 reps of a tricep extension, 10 to 15 reps of a lateral raise. Tie the band or the pump up band round the door handle, a wee barrier, whatever it may be, and do some lat bias rows, some upper back rows. If you want to, just stand up and crunch down in your midsection slightly, 10, 15 reps to get your abs firing a little bit. I'll do that, but then I'll think, right, what's actually pumped up? And if I've not really got much through my chest, then I'll do more through my chest, whether that's push-ups, whether that's getting the band and kind of going across the body, big squeeze through here. You know, think about where needs more pumping up. I think posing is really underrated here as well. I've mentioned that, kind of actually looking to pose a little bit before you go on so that you can get a little bit more warmth, a bit of blood through the legs. Most people kind of come to life when they pose. You know, when they start to get a little bit warmer on stage, you see them get more vascular, they start to look really good. But by that point, you're already multiple rounds in, they've already seen like those first impressions, they matter a lot. You've already been on stage, people might be looking better. If you come back to life, if it's later on, it doesn't matter as much. So I would do a little bit of posing, again, nothing drastic, but after each round of kind of pumping up, switch your legs on, hit a wee front relaxed, go through a short round, you're not holding your poses for too long, but get everything firing, get warm, and make sure that you've got that vascularity going. It used to really, really help me actually. So definitely something to consider. And also wearing a beanie and socks for as long as you can while pumping up. There was multiple times that I just had to throw my socks, like as we're walking on stage, having to throw them behind me. J Bell, shout out, my fucking hero. Last year, a boy called J Bell on Instagram, J Bell Lifts, I believe, he walked on stage with his sliders on and he turned around and just volleyed them back off the side of the stage. But for myself, I always used to wear my socks and wear my beanie because it meant I could keep my heat in. You know, if there's a freezing floor and you've got no socks on, no shoes on, no nothing, or no sliders, possibly just wear your sliders, then that heat just goes straight through the floor. You know, you're freezing. If your feet are really, really cold, the rest of you starts to feel really cold. And again, like keeping your heat in through a beanie, you know, a lot of heat just goes off or out through your head. So making sure you keep that in here, keep your socks on, ideally keep your clothes on while pumping up if you can, as long as you don't get too sweaty. So pumping up is a big one. Make sure that you're prepared for it and that you're doing the right shit. Section number 9, posing and presentation. This is a big one. First of all, smile. Look like you're having fun. Don't look like you're shitting yourself or that you want to kill the judges. They want to see you up there having some fun. They want to see you not relaxed, but not looking like you are struggling. You know, people where they're sat making stupid faces when they're posing, practice that shit. You know, it shouldn't be that you need to make crazy faces when you pose. And again, you want to look as if you're actually enjoying yourself. So smile on stage. Pose to the judges. So this means if you're at the very side of the stage, let's say if you're in a 10-man call out, you're going to end up being at the side of the stage and they have to kind of curve round slightly. If you're at the side of the stage here, the judges are here and you're facing directly forwards, they're not going to be seeing the pose correctly, they're seeing the side of you. And if you've ever looked at yourself posing from side on, or videoed yourself posing from slightly side on, the shots just look nowhere near as good as they usually would. So make sure that you point inwards towards the middle of the judging table and you pose towards the judges. Don't get bullied. Don't let anyone stand in front of you. There's people out there, there's chancers out there, it happens a lot. There's a little line for reference. Don't let people stand in front of you and then you're just behind them. They end up mogging you, you know, frame mogging you because they look significantly bigger. They're standing forwards. Don't let people get ahead of you. Now, a lot of the time they'll call out, right? Get back on the line, gentlemen. Cool, get back in the line. But if someone else starts to move forwards again, don't let them do it. You know, like make sure that you get in front of them again. Lean yourself forwards, get a little bit in front of them. I'm not saying that you should take the initiative to move forwards because I don't think anyone should be doing so. But if anyone else decides to, say, fuck you, you know, I'm going to get in front of you as well. Open up into your poses early. You know, when you're looking at people when they're fighting over their elbows and shit, most of the time people don't end up trying to do that. It's only if someone, you know, you open up at the same time and you don't really know who's going first, it's a little bit awkward, then you end up kind of fighting over it. If you just open up earlier than the other person, get ahead of them, most of the time he's not going to try and get in front of you because it just makes him look like a dafty. So make sure that you're opening up into your poses and you're getting into them before everyone else. Posing fitness is really big. I see it quite a lot, and that's people sweating on stage. So making sure that you've practiced your posing plenty before you go on stage. And, you know, that's kind of mimicking roughly what you'd get on stage. Now, you don't want to ideally be holding poses for 15, 20 seconds post-workout every day. But sometimes on stage, you will have to hold the pose for 15, 20 seconds. If there's 10 people and they're trying to analyse everyone, they're all speaking to each other, the judges, you stood there holding that. Be able to take new breaths, you know, like you're not going to be able to hold your breath like that for 15 seconds when you're hitting the front relaxed. Be able to smile and be able to kind of reset your breath without taking away from your midsection and making yourself look as if you're struggling. So make sure your posing fitness is practiced and that you therefore don't sweat on stage because it looks like shit. You know, you've got sweat dripping all down here and it massively takes away from the look. And again, it makes it look as if you're struggling, which they don't want. So practice your posing. Final section. Let's do it. Section number 10. You may be wondering where the fuck is section number 8. ChatGPT has took away section number 8 for me. or it was pointless because it should have been in with the pump up strategy part. I've got my notes here, so these are the 34 points that I came up with, but they're in a very, very random order because it was just what came to my head and everything that I could think of. So I asked ChatGPT, could you put these into different sections so it can be a bit more digestible for everyone, and it's put them up into daft sections, some of them. So I've already covered wearing the light baggy clothes, I believe. With section number 10, the random parts. Wearing baggy clothes is really important for your tan, to make sure that that doesn't kind of start to fade throughout the day. It happened with Lewis, as an example as well. The clothes that he wore to try keep himself warm, which is a valid kind of reason to wear some slightly heavier clothes to try to keep his warm, to make sure he can still get a pump. They sat too heavy, and it ended up starting to take away from his tan, especially on his back, on his kind of upper back where the top sits heavier. And again, he was lying on like a kind of fuzzy, I don't know how to describe that, like the floor just, it's a weird shit material on it, and that ended up taking a lot of tan off of his back in general and his full posterior chain. So making sure you've got a little blanket to make sure that doesn't happen. The only thing in here that I've not mentioned is hot stuff. So for anyone that doesn't know what hot stuff is, it's something that Protans sell, and it makes you vascular. It smells like deep heat. You can smell it straight away as soon as you go backstage. Someone's been using it, and so sometimes they don't want using it. It can make the floor slippy and shit. You might need to go outside to use it. Make sure you trial this before show weekend if you do use this. So again, you spray it. Make sure you've got your little roller with you. Spray it on the roller or onto the designated area, and then roll that on there. So for some people, it can massively irritate your skin. That's me. I remember I done a guest posing at the WNBF Supernaturals in 2024. It wasn't like me individually guest posing. They just said, like, if anyone's a competitor, previous competitor, let's get up on stage and just have some fun. I was like, fucking brilliant. So in the break, I was backstage, kind of side stage, getting a wee bit of a pump up just to get some cool shots. And AJ was stood there. AJ Morris, anyone who's kind of in the natural bodybuilding scene in the UK should know AJ. He had his client Dante getting ready for the guest pose as well. He just won his WNBF Pro card, so AJ was kind of glazing him and actually trying to make him look as good as possible. He was using hot stuff on Dante, and he still had his gloves on, and he grabbed me. I was like, let's fucking go then, Josh. Taking the piss, and he was grabbing me by the shoulders, pushing me back and forth. I was like, let's go. And I got on stage, hit a back double bicep, and there was two big, giant red handprints on my shoulders. Obviously, it makes a difference whether you've got tan on or not and the glaze on as well. It looks worse if you've just got dry skin, nothing else, and then the hot stuff on you. But it can make your skin very, very red, and it's very obvious and doesn't look very good. So if you do use hot stuff to improve your vascularity, to improve your ability to get a pump, to make you look a little bit crazier, make sure you do trial it before show weekends. I think it works really nicely across people's top lines, like through your chest, your shoulders. It can make it look pretty freaky, but make sure that you have trialed that out before show weekend itself. But that covers my 34 points. Fucking ChatGPT's messed me up. Never using it again. Because I don't know if it's taken away some of the points or if it's just put them into different sections. I feel like that's not exactly 34. So I do apologise if it's not. But I thought this video would be extremely helpful for some people, with the show season kind of up and coming now for this year. We've had the first show, but now everyone's shows will be beginning for kind of like beginning to middle of the season. This could be really, really handy. And again, it can make a big, big difference for you as a whole. So yeah, I think that covers everything. Any questions, any queries on any of this stuff, do let me know. Again, it's a different video, and I know this won't do as well kind of views-wise because it doesn't appeal to as many people that maybe might not be competing. It's not as good as a day in a life, full day of eating, a training session. But again, for the people that are doing this is probably going to be one of my most valuable videos for you guys. So yeah, that is all. If you do like this video, please do like it. Subscribe, sharing your stories. Again, like the more people that we can get this out to, the better, improving the overall standards of competitors, and also not leaving people in the dark a little bit, because there's so many little things on show day that you just don't think of unless you've been told by someone who's got that experience. Some people don't have coaches, some people don't have anyone to tell them these things. So yeah, that's everything. Like, subscribe, sharing the stories, and I'll catch you in the next video. See ya.